The deck profile you're about to see is from the Modern Horizons pre-release event. It's either the second or third deck that I drafted over the course of that entire weekend, and I did come in first with it, so let's get to the deck profile. So let's get into it. First card is going to be Arcum's Astrolabe. 1 mana for a card that replaces itself and then provides mana fixing is great. I have 9 snow lands in here, so it's very simple for this to turn 1, play the snow land, play this. Alright, now my fixing is set up, and I'm in 3 colors, so that's pretty good. It counts as a snow permanent, which you'll see the relevance of already if you haven't already guessed it. Not 1 but 2 copies of String of Disappearances. String of Disappearances is great. You can use it against people who aren't playing blue very offensively. Wait, so I can just play this as an unsummon, and there's not much you can do about it. Or if you are playing blue and you're tapped out, there's still not much you can do about it. But the upside is I'm playing blue, so it's possible that I can pay 3 mana and unsummon 2 of my creatures. That's great. Or I can pay 3 mana, unsummon, and then unsummon 1 of mine for 1, unsummon 1 of yours for 2, get value out of it. There's 2 copies of it. There's a lot of ETB effects in here. It's just fantastic. Here's one of the big things that you're going to take advantage of with those ETB effects. So Marit, Lage, Slumber. So this card is insane. It is a win condition by itself. Anytime a snow permanent enters the battlefield, I get to scry 1, so there's immediately a value in flickering anything that's snow related with String of Disappearances. If you have 10 of them, you make the flying Marit Lage. It's a 20/20 indestructible creature. It's really big. It's really scary. It's really, really good. Wall of Blossoms, we're seeing the second color that I was getting into. So Wall of Blossoms is like Wall of Runes, but better. It's 1 in the green for more of the spark. So this is 1 in the green, 0/4 defender, draw a card. What more could you ask for? 0/4 is going to block a lot of annoying threats very, very early on. You want to see this card because it gets you a second draw, which is useful for the Eyekites that you'll see later. It's an enter the battlefield effect that you can use with String of Disappearances. It's not a snow plant wall, it's not a snow creature or anything like that, but it is a very solid card, and it's definitely worth playing. Ice-Fang Coatl, so a 1/1 flash flyer that can have death touch depending on board state. Seems like it wouldn't be too great. It could be okay, I guess, but the fact that you draw a card every time it enters the battlefield is great. Yet another target for String of Disappearances. Yet another thing that makes Eyekite get there. It's a snow creature as well, and it has flash. So if your opponent's counting down to 10 to see how soon they're going to get hit by a Marit Lage, guess what? You miscalculated, good sir. Flash in at the end of your turn, and now during the upkeep, here's Marit Lage. Hope you have something in the air. Not 1 but 2 copies of Eyekite. You've already seen a couple of ways in which I can not only use enter the battlefield effects to draw a second card during the turn, but that I can also make that effect repeat several times. Eyekite just takes advantage of that. It's a 1/2 flyer, so for 2 mana, that's not too bad at blocking in the air. There is the potential, due to flash, of making it a 3/2 on my opponent's turn, or due to other cards' effects, just making it a 3/2 on my turn and swinging for 3 in the air on turn 3. So it makes it a very solid blocker in the air. It's not a snow creature or permanent, so I'm more than happy to sacrifice it to keep some of those other things alive for the purposes of Marit Lage and that synergy. Not 1, not 2, but 3 copies of Rime Tender. 2/2, 4/2, tap, untap another snow permanent. So you get this in-theme snow mana ramp, which is great. It's a 2/2, which is certainly playable for 2 mana. It has just the ramp, it is snow, it's pretty nice. It's just really solid. It's just really solid overall. Lets you get to the bigger threats more quickly. 3 of them is a big consistency boost. Untapping target snow permanent when I have 9 different snow lands, 3 of each of 3 different colors, means it's very likely I can fix my mana with this, even though that's not normally what you think of when you see this card. It does a lot of work. Not 1, not 2, but 3 copies of Winter's Rest. So Winter's Rest is 1 in a blue to say no, and I have 3 copies of them, and they're all snow permanents. So as soon as there are other snow permanents, lands, creatures, etc., then these won't go away. Provided that and they will keep tapping things down, provided that there are other snow permanents. And since they are snow permanents, you do get the synergy that if there's 2 of them out and you have no snow lands, it doesn't really matter because both threats are now tapped down. And of course, if one is destroyed, then the other one becomes less useful. But 3 of them is crazy, considering that they're all snow cards. Not a snow card, but Springborn Druid. Springborn Druid is just really solid. Here's the thing about Springborn Druid. 2 and a green for a 1-1, underwhelming. 2 and a green for a 1-1 that destroys, let me put it in context, a non-snow land to get 2 snow lands, and thus boost up the speed and gets double scry for Marit, Lage's Slumber. Yeah, that's pretty good. It doesn't have to say snow to be good for snow, and this facilitated a lot of ramping. 1 copy of Frostwalla, underwhelming. Just not great. 2 and a green for a 2/2 that can pump to a 4/4 for 1 extra mana would be okay, except it's not like it can keep pumping, so the best you'll ever get out of this thing is that it's a 4/4. There are some scary 3/3s and 4/4s and things like that this can trade with, but you're in snow, so you don't really want to be trading. It's okay. It's a snow creature, which is the only thing that makes it a little better than bad, in my estimation. Mana War, whether you put jellyfish on the end of this thing or you don't, it's still really solid. 2 in a green, or rather 2 in a blue, for a 2/2 that has Unsummon on it is great. You can use it defensively to remove a threat. You can use it offensively to push for more of your synergies, to get extra draws. To take more control of the board state. I don't have a second one, so I can't do gross things like flicker one to flicker the other, and just keep doing that, just to annoy or time stall or anything like that, but it's still really solid. Thornado. Plummet's been in core sets for forever, so and 1 more mana more expensive, Plummet seems terrible until you realize, oh wait, cycling. So you're saying, if my opponent doesn't have flyers, I just pay 2 mana to dump a garbage card to get a good card at random that I've probably scryed for thanks to Marit, Lage's Slumber? Seems pretty good. My pack 1, pick 1. I really wanted to draft Snow as soon as I saw this card, and I really wanted to draft Snow after I saw someone else do it while I was drafting Hogak during the first deck that I drafted the pre-release. Dead of Winter, all non-snow creatures get -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of snow permanents you control. All you have to do is have 4 or 5 of these for it to become absolutely unnecessarily crazy. It's very possible, and there was a game where it was turn 3, Dead of Winter, -3/-3. My board is now safe forever, and all of your threats are gone, little weenie goblin guy. So that's pretty good. Yes, I got the other signposts, no uncommon, Abominable Treefolk. Playing this, tap things down is great. It has trample, so it's big, and you can see all of the snow permanents that are in here. So you could, this guy, between the lands and the creatures and the enchantments, very easily was getting up to 6/6, 7/7 ranges as just a 4-drop that taps things down when he shows up. Oh, and he has trample, so I hope you have hard removal for him. And then, of course, I can keep doing things like String of Disappearances and Mana War and send him back and play him again. It's just, and get extra scry triggers. He's really solid. Oneirophage. This is just an alternate win condition, and you can't change my mind. So 4 mana for a 1/2, I sleep. 4 mana for a 1/2 flyer, I still sleep. 4 mana for a 1/2 flyer that says on your next turn it's a 2/3 flyer. Oh, unless you have extra draw power, in which case it's a 3/4 flyer that you only paid 4 mana for the turn before. What? Another card that very quickly, it's not snow, it's not in that archetype, but it does force things on your opponent's side very, very quickly. 2 Chillerpillars. Just not a great card. 4 mana for a 3/3. Whose only claim to fame is, yeah, okay, it is a 4 mana 3/3 that could be a 5/5 flyer, and it's very probable you'll have the mana to make it a 5/5 flyer, but really use it as a filler 4-drop for the fact that it has snow. I never transformed it into Mothra and swung in the air with a 5/5 like Migo looking thing, but it's okay. It's alright. 1 copy of Genesis, not an archetype, but people are going to be putting out a lot of removal, and they have a premium on removing all of my snow permanents, and so and most of them are creatures, so being able to get them back with Genesis is very annoying. Being able to get them back is also annoying because guess what? That means I can go from my graveyard back to my hand, and if you thought returning things from the field to my hand was bad, just wait until I don't care how many times they die. So seeing this guy just get dumped, was great. I loved it, and this guy finally has nothing to do with any of that other good stuff. Webweaver Changeling, it's just a 3/5 spider. It's just a 3/5 spider for 5. He's not too crazy. He's not a snow creature. I don't have any other changeling synergies that I'm aware of. He's just a guy. This is just a playable. Finally, we get over to the lands. 3 islands, 3 forests, all of these are snow, by the way, and 3 snow-covered swamps. I had to draft those, 9 draft spots, but I managed to get there in my own colors, no less. And then finally, 3 regular forests and 4 regular islands. Alright, so I already told you that I got first at the tournament. And how? Okay, it was disgusting. So let me tell you a story. You very rarely feel bad when you're in a tournament and you're winning. Now, sometimes you can feel gross if you go infinite on somebody and you can tell that they just are new to the game or don't have a very strong card pool. You can feel bad that way. But this is a special kind of bad. This is the kind of bad where you empathize with the person as you're playing against them and you're like, that shouldn't have happened. So my first draft, I had Hogak, and I thought, okay, I'm going to play this. Now, this was either my second or third draft of Modern Horizons, and I was very excited, I think, at the time for Snow. And so I look, pack 1, pick 1, Dead of Winter. I'm like, wait, what? And so, boom, pick that card, keep going, and I get wheeled the Treeborn Abomination, or the Treefolk Abomination, grab that. I get wielded Marit Slumber, grab that. I get wheeled the Coatl, grab that. Grab all this good stuff, like Winter's Rest, yes, please, give me as many of them as possible. And I'm looking at the table of people, and I'm like, oh, this is a pre-release event, but I don't recognize either one of these people to my left or to my right. Now, to my credit, I was fairly new at the place too. I think I had only shown up for the draft for Modern Horizons pre-release. Before that, maybe one other draft. So I, to the store, was fairly new as well. So I thought maybe the regulars coming back. I don't know. 2 people, one of whom lives not down the hall from me, someone else. So anyways, 2 people there. And my first round opponent is one of these 2 people who's, I guess he's fairly new, at least to the store. Don't know how new he is in general. We're playing. I play turn 2, Marit Slumber. He just looks. He's like, wait, what? Oh yeah, I get a 20/20 flying indestructible. He's like, you only start with 20 life. And I'm like, oh man, this is going to go badly for someone. Either I'm going to get stomped on, or this is going to go really badly for this guy. So Winter's Rest. He doesn't think to ask, but I'm not being. It becomes obvious that he hasn't drafted this set before, or at the very least, he's somewhat new to the store and hasn't drafted Magic in a long time, if he has drafted it at all. So I'm counting for him how many snow permanents I have left. And the first game, he's like, wait, your lands count too? Yep, lands count as well. Springbloom Druid, sack a forest, get in a snow-covered forest, snow-covered either island or swamp, the other one. And then that's 9, 10, scry. Ooh, Winter's Rest, put that on top. Next up, here. The stars were right, and I just write it all over this man. Right there. Swung for 20. GG, that's game. Okay, go to game 2. Game 2. Don't really want to keep this hand. Okay, so I've got like a Coatl and some of the Rime Tenders and Chillerpillars and some underwhelming creatures that are snow, but that's fine. And I've drawn like all three of my Winter's Rest. I'm just playing them out as quickly as I can because I am going to die if I don't. I don't get to hold anything reserve. I don't have any cool String of Disappearances combat tricks. I don't get to mana war my own stuff. It's feeling really, really kind of like this is going terribly. He gets me down 2-1. This is like top 5 anime comebacks, right? Like this is and he gets me down to 1 life. 1 life to live. If you get that reference, you're awesome. And I realize, oh, I have 10 snow permanents. And he has no flyers. And he's tapped out. So, untap, upkeep, draw. I was like, oh yeah, by the way, on my upkeep. Marit Lage woke from the slumber, and I have never seen a man so disappointed in my entire life, because he had me at 1 life, and then he had full life, and then he had no life. And that was like the look of just sheer disappointment on his face was the truest cosmic horror I've ever seen in a game of Magic. I've seen people go infinite. I've seen people play, you know who you are. You play Krenko and you have like 50 Perforos tokens just sitting up there with Pashalik Mons doing your thing. I've seen people like, oh, well, it's Hogak in Modern, so let me just do that right before Bridge got banned, and they would just turn their deck upside down and just make a bunch of stuff. And I've seen the look of like on people's faces as that happens, but they're just like, if this man's eyes were any more downcast, I think they'd be at his feet or part of his toes or something. I just felt really bad, but okay. On to game 2. His buddy, by the way, is commiserating with him. His friend is sitting to his left as I'm playing against this guy. Who's my next round opponent? The friend of the other guy. So, game 1. Look, I don't make these stories up, right? Marit Lage got there so hard. And it's not like I was trying to be cute or anything like that. I wasn't trying to win with Marit Lage. I wasn't. I was trying to win with the Abominable Treefolk and just swing for like a 9 trample. But I realized, wait a second. If the Abominable Treefolk is a 9/9, that must mean I have 9 snow permanents. I guess my win condition is a land at this point. There's a land. All right, snow-covered forest, and let's go. Get absolutely checked. Marit Lage goes in. Game 2. The guy looks at his hand. He looks at me. He does one of these numbers. It just does like not even a yes, not even like, oh yeah, you can go. No, nothing like. He just goes. I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no. All right, so I'm like, what's the look on this guy's face? All right, it looks like a normal game, and by normal game for this deck, I mean it looks like Marit Lage is going to be coming out and just going like right over his face as well, and so it happens. Marit Lage. This at the Mansions of Madness, this Yog-Sothoth Cthulhu rising from the depths. Look at the picture and see how tiny the people are, and just feel their hopeless existential terror and they're just coming to go attack them and just murder them so deeply, and just let them know that their place in the universe is small and meaningless in a way that Emrakul made us all feel when it took an extra turn. And I know which Emrakul we're talking about. We're talking about the old one. Yeah, that one, the banned one. Not the promised end, the one that ended up banned. Okay. Marit Lage, the flappy noodle, lovingly crafted Lovecraftian eldritch horror from beyond the stars, who found that the time was right and the ice had thawed and the end was promised and coming. It comes. He has a blocker. He doesn't care. I want you to know that that Griffin, or whatever it was, took one for the team like a champ. It absolutely just sat there in front of this Shieldred Whispering One looking evil thing and just took it like a champ. Like the biggest champ ever. Like, holy hell. Like, the bravest sacrifice any 1/1/1/3/1/2 flyer has ever made. It's just looking at a Marit Lage like, chump. This guy. Marit Lage, this being, this thing of importance and just of import, promised, rendered from the Ice Ages, just unthawed, monstrous, multi-tentacled, varied, destructive in all capacities. And the guy casts Reprobate. Cast Reprobation. He turns Marit Lage into a 0/1 coward with no abilities. So after thousands of years of waiting for the stars to become right and the ice to thaw, Al Gore's biggest nightmare comes through, and it's a 0/1 coward. Well, I'm not going to win with that, am I? Okay, so eventually I get there with Abominable Treefolk, because guess what? If you have enough to play Marit Lage, you have enough to play Abominable Treefolk and just win the game. And then when he tried to kill it, I string of disappearances and returned my stuff and bounced his biggest threat at the end of his turn, and then it's my turn. He's tapped out. I play the Treefolk and I tap everything down. I swing for a bunch because I can do that. And then he's like, well, I've got nothing. And so the Abominable Treefolk just like, we're gonna go when to go at you and just smack you in the face. You went, all right, so there we go. Abominable Treefolk did the business. Round 3, I played against someone who, I remember who I played against. I won't tell you his name here, but he was trying desperately to play ninjas. He wanted ninjas so badly, really badly. Like, he had the 6/3 ninja of the new moon, I think it is, and he had the unblock 3 of the unblockable changeling outcasts, and just I was like, oh no, stop the mana. And he had 2 of the shrouds, and he had a hidden ninja, the 1 blue 2/2 unblockable dude. I was like, oh no, I'm just gonna get killed by I'm just gonna get killed by ninjas of all things. He has got all these ninjutsu plays, but he doesn't have Fallen Shinobi, and he doesn't have the ingenious one. And he doesn't have the Moonlight Shinobi that makes little 1/1 flyers. And he doesn't have the Fairy 1/1 that's a 1-turn flyer. He just has like the 1 in a black 3/3 indestructible ninja and the big 6/3 ninja. And I'm like, I don't know who, man. Maybe this wasn't your table. Maybe the packs just didn't show up. You didn't get the signpost uncommons or rares that you were looking for. Sorry, dude. I just 2-0'd that, and that was the end of it. I felt really bad because actually I think ninjas are crazy. I went on to draft ninjas. I had either done it just that tournament before, that event before, or I had done it the draft immediately there following, because it looked really cool. It did look neat. I mean, you know, everyone looks at ninjutsu and thinks that it looks neat, or at least everyone I know has, but that's not the story. The story is of okay, so I go to round 4. I'm playing against somebody, and it's the guy who always says that he has either one of 2 things. He either has jank, that's how you know it's bad, or he has 4 or 5 color good stuff, and I have no idea how he manages to get the good stuff and play it. Now, in fairness, this is a modern set, so there's things like the Springbloom Druid and the Astrolabe and a bunch of things that fixed mana, so it's actually more doable than it is normally, which is not a good sign for me, because I'm only playing 3 colors, and he's running 4, and 4 is more often greater than 3, and that makes it 4/3 better, which is about 20% cooler, It's actually about 33.3 recurring percent cooler, and so that's not great for me, and so I lose game 1. And then game 2, we play this epic back and forth, and I'm like, he's like, no, and I'm like, this. He's like, ooh, and then I'm like, disappear that. He's like, oh, but I'm playing blue as well, disappear that. So I'm like, but you can't do that. It's cost blue and blue, and you don't have the mana for that. And he's like, but I also have string of disappearances. I'm like, how am I supposed to deal with this? This is insane. He's just got all of these plays, and it's going back and forth, and it's a tight game, and I eventually, barely, ultimately, I think I win. I think I lose. I'm not really sure. It's 1-1. That's the important thing. Is that it's 1-1. Whatever the result was, there was a game that was crazy and another game that I blew out. So I guess by definition, he won the crazy game. And I was like, okay. I don't know if this is true for you, but me as a person, whenever it's the finals, and I'm thinking like, all right, first or second, this is it, this is the thing. Gotta focus, maximum effort, maximize efforts, focus, don't misplay. Look at every card, think of the interactions. What are the cards in the set? Grind. It's like a madness mantra, right? And then I misplay something. It always happens. And so we get to game 3, and I'm like, all right, focus, don't die, focus intensively. And he's like, yeah, it's turn 3 and I don't drop a land. I'm like, I'm pretty good at this. I felt really good after that. I was like, I guess I don't get mana screwed. I win, and I look at my land, and it's not mana. It's something better. It's the Springbloom Druid. Do this, get the plays in, and then the Astrolabe is the top deck. All right, all the fixing, draw into land, and then keep going. Great. Now, I didn't get any Marit Lage wins against him, but that's fine. I got to flicker the stupid Coatl. I think I swung in with Eyekites and won that way because the Coatl just kept bouncing in and out as many times as I felt like playing it, and I had the stupid 0/4 plant defender. Wall of Blossoms, more like Wall of get there. So I got there, and I ended up getting first. I was like, I like this a lot. This is pretty good. So yeah. Snow is cool, even though I personally like the summer, but snow is cool.